virtual career fair prep workshop. This is being recorded, so we'll go ahead and accept that. And I'm going to start screen sharing and we can get started. All right. So hi, everyone. My name is Sabrina Wise. I use she, her pronouns. I am the Assistant Director of External Relations here in the Career Engagement Office at Seattle U. And I'm joined by many people from both the Career Engagement Office and the Albers Placement Center teams. But I want to give Justin a chance to introduce himself.
Hey everybody, my name is Justin Dolce. I'm with the Albers Placement Center, as Sabrina mentioned. I'm a career advisor. And then after Sabrina goes over some Handshake tips and how to use the platform, I'm going to introduce a couple employers that we have here and have a couple preset questions to ask them around how to maximize your time in a career fair, some tips for really being successful. And then we're hoping to open it up for questions from all of you. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'll let Sabrina kind of take it from here.
Awesome. Thanks, Justin. And again, so glad you all are here. And we'd actually like to invite you to just share in the chat your name and one thing you're hoping to get out of today's workshop. Maybe it's like some question you want to get answered or something you really want to learn about today. So just your name and one thing you're hoping to get out of today, and you can drop that in the chat. Awesome. And I know I have teammates on the call who are monitoring the chat as we go. Oh yeah, network skills, that's a great one. We will absolutely be talking about how to make the most of the fair for networking. So as you continue to type in the chat who you are and what you're hoping to get out of today, I want to do a special welcome for all of our newest members of the SU community, whether you're a first year or a transfer student. We are just so glad that you're choosing to be here with us today and that you're here at SU. And as you know, this will be recorded and emailed to you afterwards, and we'll have some time for Q&A at the end also. So feel free to put your questions in the chat at any time, or you can save them for the Q&A, but we'll make sure that we get to those. All right, so Justin kind of already did an overview of our agenda for the day. So we're going to talk about the Business and Engineering Career Fair, which hopefully you all know about because that is why you are here right now. But registration for the fair did open this week. So now is the time to get in there and register and save your spot. We can drop the link to register in the chat so that you have that and you can follow along if you'd like as we're going. The most important thing to know about, or one of the most important things to know about the structure of this fair is that there's going to be two ways you can interact with employers. So there are going to be one-on-one sessions. Those are 10 minutes long, so time will fly, right? And it's just you and a recruiter just kind of getting to know each other. We'll talk about how to prepare for that in a few minutes. With these sessions, employers can set preferences for who can meet with them. So maybe a particular major or a particular year in school. So that's why it's very important to update your Handshake profile, which we'll talk about in a second. We're finding that most employers don't set those qualifications, but some of them do. And then there are also group sessions. These are open to all. There are not going to be any qualifications put on those sessions. They're 30 minutes long. There could be up to 50 students there with you in the group session. An employer can make this really whatever they want. So it could be like a PowerPoint or a panel with some current employees or just a Q&A. Like the sky is really the limit with that. And the purpose of these sessions is to ask some thoughtful questions and make an initial connection. This is not supposed to be the last conversation you'll ever have with an employer that you're interested in. This is just a starting point. So if 10 minutes feels like super fast, that's because you're not supposed to get it all done in 10 minutes, right? You're making that initial connection and then kind of moving on. All right. So lots of different reasons that you might be planning on attending the fair. I know some people are already sharing in the chat. All of those are wonderful reasons to be part of this. It's open to all years, any major if you're interested in exploring those business or engineering opportunities. So some of the reasons that we hear about that are kind of like the most helpful aspects of this fair. One is just that it's a chance to meet directly and make real human connections with representatives from a ton of different companies and firms and agencies in many different sectors who really want to hire SU students. So they're all there because they want to meet you. Right now, we have, I think, over 35 employers signed up to attend, all the way from Alaska Airlines to Costco to Mercer to enterprise to, the Washington State Department of Transportation. Like there's a really wide range of employers who will be there. And we'll have employers who are looking for students in every major. And I'll show you in a minute how you can see the employers who are signed up. It's a great way to discover some new jobs and internships. Honestly, my favorite stories about the fair are from students who kind of took a chance on meeting with an employer they hadn't heard about before and ended up realizing that this is a really great fit and they want to keep that conversation going. And finally, one of the benefits of the virtual fair is that you're not going to have to wait in line. So you sign up for your sessions in advance. You don't have to like wait, lurk awkwardly around a table, like waiting to be able to talk to someone. You know when your sessions are, you show up on time for them. It's a good way to have a plan going into it. So the fair is taking place on Handshake. Some of you might be super familiar with Handshake. Some of you might be like, what is that? It's our online platform that we use for all sorts of different career things. So it does house the fair, but you'll also use it for many other reasons. So you're going to be using this during your time at SU to find jobs and internships, whether that's on campus or off campus. It's a really great way to stand out to employers because you can actually build a profile that employers can see, and they can even reach out to you and recruit you through Handshake, which is pretty cool. There are tons of events in Handshake. So the fair is one of them, but you can also go and look at like the many other events that different employers are putting on, or that like the Career Engagement Office and Albers Placement Center are putting on for you at SU. And the more time you spend in Handshake and the more you fill out your profile and look at jobs, the more you get custom recommendations based on your interests. So you'll start seeing, oh, this is an event that Handshake recommends for me, or a job or an internship that it recommends. So all of this to say, the work that you put into setting up your Handshake profile now for this fair is going to serve you well for a really long time. You will have that as a tool for your whole time at SU and after, because it is available to alumni as well. So we are going to go through the process of preparing and registering for the fair and Handshake. And I'm actually going to switch to a live demo and just show you what this looks like in real life with my own profile. So I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. And I'm going to switch over to Handshake itself. There we are. So you should all be seeing, hopefully what you're seeing is Handshake. Can I get a thumbs up if you are indeed seeing the homepage of Handshake? Fabulous. Great. So this is what it should look like when you log in. If you don't have a profile yet, you'll answer some questions first, and then this will be what it looks like once you're in Handshake. But the first thing I want to talk about is updating your profile. And this is because we want employers to actually be able to find you. We want to make sure that you qualify for the sessions that you do qualify for, that employers sort of know that you meet their criteria. So to make these updates, I'm going to just click on my little profile picture up here in the corner and go to my profile. And here we will be in a moment. Here's what my profile looks like. So this is just an example, but yours might look something like this. You can fill this in with as much detail as you want. And I say detail is good. Spending a little time to build this out is worth it, because this is one of the ways that employers will get to know you and learn about you. But the most important ones that I really want to emphasize right now are your major, your GPA, your grad date, and your school year. So please make sure that these are accurate in Handshake, because those are the criteria that employers could set for who they will meet with for those one-on-one sessions. So we want to make sure that it's up to date. And if you do qualify for a session, that you're able to participate in it. So if you want to edit your school year, you would just click on this little pencil icon here that is by your picture. So it gives you a place that you can edit that. And then if you want to edit those other pieces I mentioned, so your major, your GPA, your grad date, you would just click on the educational experience that you want to edit, make sure all the information is correct, and you're going to be good to go. So updating your profile is the first thing. The next one is we want to make sure that your Handshake settings are what they need to be for a fair. So again, we're going back to your picture, clicking on settings, and we can scroll down a little bit here. And the first one is your privacy settings. So double check that you are set to either the employers or the community setting. Otherwise, employers aren't going to be able to see your profile, which kind of defeats the purpose. So I recommend having the community setting all the time, but if you would prefer not to, that's totally okay. Maybe just do that for the fair, and then you can switch back to private after that. It's also going to ask about work authorization, because this is another preference that employers can set of who they might meet with for those one-on-one sessions. So an employer could say that they only want to meet one-on-one with students who are authorized to work in the US. If you check this little box here that says prefer not to answer, you're still going to be eligible for those one-on-ones where employers want to meet with someone who is authorized. So you're not going to be counted out of any one-on-one sessions if you check this prefer not to answer box. If anybody has questions about what their answers to this might be or wants to talk through that with us, we can either get to that in the Q&A, or you could also schedule a career coaching appointment and we could talk about your individual situation and what to put for this work authorization section. But those are your settings. The last thing I want to show you as far as making sure your profile is up to date is going into documents and making sure your resume is uploaded. So you can add a resume right here. You want to make sure that you've checked the little green check mark so that it's actually visible to employers with the resume that you want to be visible. And this is just another way that employers can find you. They might look you up before or after a session with you to get a picture of you and to see your resume. If you don't have a resume or you want help updating your resume, that is an awesome reason to schedule a career coaching appointment. So you can absolutely do that after this. All right, so your profile is ready to go. Now I want to show you what it actually looks like to register for the fair itself. So if we go into the events tab here, I'm just going to search for business and engineering career fair and see, hopefully it comes up. There it is. So here is the 2021 business and engineering career fair. I'm going to click on that. And this takes me to the information page, so the date, time, all of that. You can read a little bit more about it. You can also see the employers who are registered. So down here, employers attending. And if you click on show all employers, it'll show you the full list of employers who are signed up to attend. And that list is still growing. So keep checking back as more employers sign up. But once you've done all that, you're going to click register. You can also choose this in order to bookmark the fair. So it'll be really easy for you to find again when you come back to Handshake. But for now, we're going to click register. And you're going to see this beautiful box that says you're registered, sign up for sessions. So what this is telling you is that there are two steps. You register for the fair, but you still have to sign up for individual sessions with employers in advance. That does not automatically happen for you because you need to choose the employers you want to meet with. So we're going to just click view employer sessions. And this takes me to all of the available sessions that are currently listed. Some employers haven't even added their sessions to Handshake yet. So if there's an employer you really want to meet with and you're not seeing sessions with them, just keep checking back. They will add that before the fair. So we can kind of take a look here at, what our different options are. And you've got your group sessions and you've got your one-on-one sessions. So let's see, I'll actually use Enterprise as an example of signing up for a group session. So you can see they have group sessions at a couple different times. You can choose the one that works best for you. You also might want to click on it and actually read about the session because it sounds like they're slightly different. They have different titles. So just figuring out which one is the best match for you. But you can click on that session and then you'll click confirm. Yes, I want to add this to my schedule. That is how you would add a group session. And it's really similar for one-on-one sessions. So if we sort of keep scrolling through here, for example, US General Services Administration, it looks like they have currently 5 individual sessions. You could go in there and grab one of those real quick. We would click on that. And again, you get to choose which time is best for you out of the different options that they have. And again, you're going to want to click confirm once you've done that. I'm not actually going to sign up because I don't want them to think that I'm going to meet with them at the fair, but you could sort of go from here. When you're making your schedule, I really encourage you to keep in mind breaks. You're a person, you probably need to drink water or stretch your legs or do whatever it is. And also knowing that those one-on-one sessions are 10 minutes long. So you definitely want to be able to get there right at the top of that session, right on time to make the most of the time. So it can be nice to have a little bit of buffer time around it. So just thinking about breaks and the pacing of your day when you're setting everything up. And finally, I want to remind everyone to please reschedule if you run into a conflict. So if something comes up, we hope this won't happen, but you are not able to make it to one of the sessions that you signed up for any reason. There is an option to go in there and formally cancel that session. And I really encourage you to do that because employers can see who has signed up with them, who doesn't show up. You kind of have a digital footprint that way. So we want to make sure that they don't now know you as the person who signed up and then no-showed and ghosted on them and didn't come to their session. So make sure that you cancel if you have to. We hope that won't happen, but that is an important step if it does come to that. All right, so we're just about done with the Handshake tutorial here, but the last thing that I want to show you all is going back to our PowerPoint really quickly. let's see here. Okay, so we're back to our PowerPoint, hopefully. And so I'm going to just scroll through because these are screenshots of what I just showed you. So we will share the PowerPoint afterwards, and you can go through and take a look at this whole process again. But I want to show you what it actually looks like the day of the fair, so you can kind of be prepped for that. So when it's the day of the fair, you're going to log into Handshake. You'll actually see a little like banner or a little pop-up that says your fair is happening or your fair is upcoming. So you'll just click on that. It'll take you to the fair page. And you're going to have a tab that says My Schedule. So you can go into your schedule and you'll see the list of all of the sessions that you signed up for in there. When it is time to join a session, there's going to be a little button that says Join Video that shows up, and that's how you're going to join the session. You can join up to 5 minutes before a session. So if you kind of want a little time to like test your video and audio and just get in the zone, like up to 5 minutes before one of your sessions, you could click on this little Join Video button, and you'll be able to get all set up. And then once you're actually in a session, we did a test run and took a screenshot of what it looks like. So here is the wonderful Carol Lawally, who is on this call right now. It looks pretty similar to Zoom, but it's not Zoom, right? It is Handshake's own platform, but it looks pretty similar. It behaves in a similar way. And you're going to have the option to do video, audio, and chat. So for a one-on-one session especially, definitely encourage you to use video and audio whenever possible. It's a good way to make that face-to-face connection, just like you would if it was an in-person fair. But if for any reason like video is not working or that's not an option, just letting the employer know I'm not able to have video on today, but I have audio or whatever it is, just communicating that is really valuable. And then in the group sessions, you can have video off or on, right? Again, great to have video on if you can and you feel comfortable, but what's really important is that you're engaging in some way. So like posting a question in the chat or unmuting yourself and asking a question. Those are sort of like really great ways to make a connection in a group session. And if in the course of the fair, something is like not working or you are lost or you need support, we're going to have a help room on Zoom that is just for you students to come and see us and get your questions answered really quickly. So here's the Zoom link for it. And you're going to see this Zoom link everywhere. It's going to be on the fair page. It's going to be in your confirmation emails. So like you'll be tired of seeing this Zoom link, but you can click on it and it will take you to a help room for anything that you might need, just with staff from SU there to help you out. All right. So recap of the large amount of information that I just dumped on you all really quickly. We want to make sure you have updated your profile in Handshake so that you have all of your information up to date. We want to make sure that you actually register for the fair and then sign up for individual sessions with employers in advance. And space can fill up quickly with some of those sessions. So I would recommend going in there soon, signing up for the sessions that you want, and then checking back often because like I said, more employers are adding sessions every day. So there will be more that you didn't see before. Those are kind of the big technical steps. And we're going to talk more with our upcoming Q&A here about how you can prepare just with your own, how you talk about yourself and how you participate in these sessions. But we wanted to make sure we covered the technical piece first, so you do know what you're doing there. You'll get this PowerPoint later, but this lists a couple resources that you're welcome to take a look at. We would love for you to schedule a career coaching appointment if you have questions about anything we just talked about. So you can schedule with Career Engagement Office, which is open to all students, or Albert's Placement Center if you're a business student. But with that, I'm going to stop sharing and I will hand it back over to Justin.
Perfect. Thanks, Sabrina. So now what we're going to do is have a Q&A panel with a couple representatives who have experience doing this exact virtual career fair. So I'm going to have them in just a sec introduce themselves, and then I have a couple preset questions that I think will probably be front and center on everybody's mind. And then after that, we're going to open it up to all of you students to ask them questions that you might have. We'll be monitoring the chat, so if you feel like entering your question in the chat, we can ask it for you on your behalf. Or when we get to that point, feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question on your own. So that being said, we have Nikki Schmidt from Enterprise and Scott Flintoff from Gallagher. So why don't we have Nikki, why don't you start, maybe introduce yourself, tell them a little bit about what you do and about Enterprise.
Yes, thank you so much, Justin and Mary, for inviting us. I'm happy to be here and help out with this for you guys. Nice to meet you all. My name's Nikki. I am one of the recruiters at Enterprise. I recruit for the South Puget Sound. So we hire for a lot of positions, but the main one is an entry-level position. It's called the management trainee role. Now, I started there 5 years ago with Enterprise, worked my way up, took a promotion into car sales. So I sold cars for a little while, and then most recently came over to talent acquisition. So I find people just like yourselves who are looking for careers and kind of like the same career path and opportunity that I had. I really like to talk to students and talk to people about my experience and kind of help them enable their success.
Cool. Thanks, Nikki. Scott, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Gallagher?
Yeah, can you hear me, Justin?
Yep, loud and clear.
Great. Hi, everyone. My name is Scott Flintoff. I work for Arthur J. Gallagher as a property and casualty insurance broker. I found Gallagher through my career fair at Gonzaga. So I just recently graduated from Gonzaga this last May. Found them at the career fair, interned with them for 2 years, and now I'm out of their Bellevue office in Washington. I'm not a recruiter, but our recruiter asked me to hop on the call here as I just graduated. So pretty fresh in how these programs go, virtual career fairs and whatnot. Yeah, we are all over. We're global. So wherever basically preferences, we try to meet those needs. So we're in Seattle, we're in LA, we're in New York. It's really wherever fits what you want to do. Yeah, a little about me, a little about the program.
Thanks, Scott. Okay, so the first question I have is around the one-on-one sessions. So how would you recommend students prepare for the one-on-one sessions with a company representative? And then also, how can they really maximize that 10 minutes that they have with that representative? Why don't we start with, go back to Nikki.
Yes, great question. So I would definitely suggest like doing your research on these companies, like look at who is coming to the career fair and look at their values and kind of see like what values that you have and does this company kind of align with what you're looking for? And then if so, maybe you want to hear more, maybe you want to talk to, you want to sign up with a recruiter, you want to meet them and kind of hear a little bit more about the opportunity. So I would definitely say research your company and kind of see what values and, what's their culture like, maybe see if they have a LinkedIn page or any kind of social media. I would definitely look at that. Maybe it showcases their culture at their company. Maybe that's somewhere that you want to be. And another way is I definitely would say like, how can you maximize the 10 minutes and stand out? Really talking about what's important to you in a career and what kind of like you're looking for. And then that gives an opportunity for the recruiter, whoever you're speaking with, to kind of talk about if that is the right fit and kind of if that would be something that they would be really great at. From there, at least for Enterprise, we send you a link so you can put in all your information and we follow up with you. But I would definitely say just keeping an eye on the time because, when you start talking to these people and you get into a really great conversation, kind of you lose track of time. So we definitely try to, stay, checking out the clock and make sure that in those 10 minutes, you really highlight yourself and what you've done and how that really relates to that company and their values and that position that you are trying to apply for and talk about.
And Scott?
Yeah, to piggyback off that, how I started my search is I found companies I was passionate about, something that aligned either in their values or their operation, because for me at least, I think for everyone, you just talk forever about what you're passionate about, and that's how you kind of connect. So look for companies that you have a connection with, you get excited about. I think that could really show through an employer. If you're just there for, you're just there because you're there, or you're there because you're actually interested in, what their operation is and their company is, and what can they offer. Along with that, I would come up with a lot of good questions. Yeah, so do your research. LinkedIn employees, go through their website, all of that, and just try to find really good questions that you get information from, but also shows the employer that you did your homework. and you're seeking, good information from them. So.
Cool, thanks. How about the group sessions, which obviously are going to be a little different than the one-on-one sessions in that there'll be a group of students and then, an employer talking about a particular topic. So how should students, I guess what should they expect from a group session? And then also, is there any way for students to stand out in those sessions? Really, how can they maximize the group sessions? I guess we'll go back to Nikki.
Yeah, so for Enterprise at our group sessions, we do little PowerPoints that you can kind of follow along with and ask questions. But I would definitely say, to Scott's point, ask a lot of questions. There's going to be a lot of students in the group session, and you really want to stand out to these employers so that they really remember you and remember, what you're all about. So someone who's really engaged, asks lots of questions, you're excited to be there, meet people and network. So I would really say just asking a lot of questions and just showing that you're really interested. I would say those are the main things that would kind of, make you stand apart from the others. But also, as an employer, I try to ask questions too and kind of feel it out. So I would say that's kind of the big thing, is just asking a lot of questions.
Yeah, I think she hit the point on that. Also, on a very small note, what makes a big difference is probably just have your camera on. Just show, if you're a recruiter making, this presentation and whatnot, see a screen of faces just might mean a lot. What was that? Oh, yeah. So yeah, maybe seeing a screen of faces might mean a lot. Interact, ask those questions, be attentive. That probably will go a long way with employers.
Okay, thank you. So now I'm hoping students, you have tons of questions that you'd like to ask Nikki and Scott. I guess first, Megan, were there any questions in the chat we should start with before we just open it up to general Q&A?
Yeah, Justin, this is a good one. What is the level of commitment with the employers participating in the fair? If I sign up for a one-on-one session with an employer, does that mean that if they accept, I will be in the application process immediately? So kind of what does the one-on-one mean, I guess? Nikki, if you want to.
Yes, so one-on-one is kind of like your time to really dig in and see what that company is all about. See if your values align with theirs. But, I think it could have a little bit of an opportunity over maybe your peers to apply. But I don't think it really locks in that application, at least for Enterprise. But definitely, I think that if you do sign up for a one-on-one, you're putting yourself above a lot of other people who maybe shy away from that or would rather do a group session. So if you'd like to stand out, I would definitely sign up for a one-on-one. Enterprise has a ton of slots open on there. I'm sure all the other companies do as well, but just go check them out. And if something sounds interesting to you, sign up for a one-on-one. It's awesome to talk to students and kind of, figure out what it is that they want to do. So yeah, I would do that.
Scott, I don't know if you have any comments on it, Scott, or if you found when you were doing fairs, if actually connecting was more beneficial for you.
Yeah, so I started as a freshman, and advice that I got told when I was a freshman is go to all the career fairs and see the employers that interest you year after year, and just kind of be visual. Make sure they understand that you're here, you want to talk with them. And also remember, it's not about just finding a job or an internship. It's about finding a mutual beneficial connection. You for the company and the company for you. So you'll seek out those companies that you're interested in, you're passionate about, and then they'll see that. They'll see that and put your name above someone else that just that they don't put a face to in the application process. So.
Good, thank you both. Another question, and Sabrina, I might need your help on this one. Do companies have options where the students can check if they're open to recruiting international students? Is there any way to see that, I guess, for the fair specifically?
That is a great question. So part of the answer is that if you go into the fair, you go to the fair page and you click on that button to like see all 35 or however many it is employers. It'll show you little profiles of each of the employers. And one of the fields that you'll see is US work authorization. And then under that, it might say like US authorization required, or it might say accepting OPT/CPT. And that would be a really good indicator if it says that second one that they are recruiting international students. So that is one good place to check. You can also like do a broader search in Handshake and just look at jobs and look at the jobs that that company has posted. And they will also say there whether or not they are open to OPT or CPT candidates. But again, if you check that box on your settings that says like, I just prefer not to say, you won't get closed out of any sessions. So it's up to you how you want to handle that. And if you have specific questions about your situation, that is definitely a great reason to schedule a career coaching appointment. We can figure it out together.
Scott, somebody in the chat is asking what roles Gallagher is currently hiring for. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. I know like a baseline and kind of what we're looking for. So most of our internships across the states will be sales internships. It's a very active internship. We send you to our corporate office in Chicago for a week to participate in different sales activities and trainings, networking with our executives. And we send you to also a sales challenge as well. That's kind of like the capstone of the internship. So there is the sales one. And then I know through corporate in Chicago, we have a corporate marketing internship, corporate finance. There might be more. We could find that all online through the Gallagher website, going to internships. There'd be a lot more information on that.
Nikki, I want to give you a chance too. What enterprise, is it mostly the full-time? Are you doing the internship as well for management training?
Yes, so we have internship opportunities for 2022 summer paid. And then we also are, it's our world-renowned management trainee opportunity. So the cool thing about us is that everybody in our company started out as a management trainee. So I started there 5 years ago. So I'm actually like recruiting for this position I've been in, so I can really talk about it. And so the management training position would be the one that we are hiring for, in addition to the internship for juniors and seniors.
Great, thank you. Well, most of the companies at the fair, Justin, you've been in there a lot, looking at what companies are hiring for, be looking for positions and internships. What's the process after an interview, like after a one-on-one session, I'm assuming, to apply, which Nikki or Scott might be able to comment on?
Yeah, I would say from looking at the job posting, it's a mix. Some companies are looking for full-time, some intern, some are looking for both full-time and intern. I wouldn't say there's one that vastly outnumbers the other. It's kind of a mix. But good question on, especially on sort of next steps after the fair, kind of what does the application and interview process look like for each of your companies?
Yeah, so with Enterprise, we actually, for the one-on-ones and group sessions, we have a link that we send out. So we just ask that you put your grad date and your major, where you live, your name, contact, that kind of stuff. And then we will follow up with you afterwards. But it's also a great thing to like add the person on LinkedIn. If you guys have LinkedIn, utilize that, follow them on LinkedIn, share their posts, because that'll really make you stand out too. It's, when the recruiter says like, man, I have this opening, and they keep saying Samuel's name pop up, then they're going to be like, man, well, maybe I should reach out to Samuel. So yeah, I would say keep in contact with these people that you talk to.
Yeah, so we have an application online. From reviewing those, we funnel you to where your desired location is. So we have locations all over the country, so you could really be funneled anywhere you want. And then that office is responsible for the interviews. There's 2 rounds of interviews, and then so it's basically where you want to go, and from there each office handles it how they see fit. So.
Great. You guys are asking some really good questions in here. I was also going to ask you, Scott, if you did anything, or Nikki, is there anything that like somebody could do to kind of stand out after they've met with you in a one-on-one? Like, do you usually give out your contact info? Can they follow up and thank you? You mentioned LinkedIn, which was great. Any other little like, ooh, this sets somebody apart?
I would definitely say a thank you email goes a really long way. Whenever I get one, I'm like, wow, that's really nice. Like they took the time to, type up an email. So I would really like try to get the recruiter or that person's contact, and yeah, send them a thank you email.
Yeah, not much to add there. Just simply send an email. Doesn't need to be extravagant. Just an email. Yeah.
It probably doesn't happen very often, right? I don't know how much
yeah.
thank yous are happening. So definitely could set you apart just to send a simple thank you. Good. Student is asking, do either of your companies consider first year or freshmen for internships?
Not at this moment in time, but I would definitely say it's a great opportunity to still talk to these employers and really get your name out there for the future. When you are ready, you know exactly who you can reach out to.
Yeah, same deal. We do not offer for freshmen currently. As I said before, I'd still show up to the career fairs, still get your name out there, start that process early. What Gallagher does is we do a 2-year internship. So you intern the summer of after your sophomore year, and then after your junior year, and then yeah. So it's a 2-year commitment that we hope that students participate in. But we also just do for students who can't do who have not connected for after their sophomore year, we just do after their junior year and evaluate off of that. So.
And I will say back, I used to be a recruiter before moving into this role. I spent a lot of time at career fairs, and there was at one company I worked at, we only hired interns usually at their junior or senior year, but I would occasionally have a freshman come up to the booth, introduce themselves to me, and that really made an impact, because I would think if you're a freshman and you're already putting yourself out there and learning about different careers and introducing yourself, that was always somebody I would make a note about. And I would definitely look for them when we did get to the point of hiring, or they were at like that junior, senior level. And especially if they continued that relationship and followed up, I would almost guaranteed make sure that I interviewed that student, because that's some dedication as a freshman if you're kind of putting yourself out there and already starting that kind of relationship building process. So I would say, yeah, very impressive.
Thank you, guys. Nikki, I know most everybody starts as a management trainee, so I don't know if this question would apply, but Scott, maybe, is it okay to apply to more than one position at the same company, or does that sometimes look bad? Oh, Scott, you're muted.
Oh, my bad. Thank you.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think it would look bad. I think it'd be kind of confusing. Do you want to go marketing or do you want to go sales? Kind of where your mind's at. I'd probably steer away from it. I wouldn't know like the purpose of, wouldn't want to put you in a situation where I have to ask you, what, you're just applying twice, or kind of what's the program? So yeah, I just, look at the descriptions, read about it, do some, searching on what interests you, and then just go that route. And don't look back. Yeah.
Good, thank you. And Nikki, if you have comments, great.
Yeah, we just hire for the management trainee and then the intern. So yeah, if you apply to different locations, it goes to that recruiter. So we're all on the same team, so we'll see it. So I would probably just stick to one location, and then we can always, talk about moving you to a different one if you want to be somewhere else.
And Nikki, another question: are you open to people connecting with you on LinkedIn? Is that appropriate for recruiters?
Yeah, so appropriate. Even if you want to put a little message in there and be like, oh, we met at the career fair or like anything like that. Heck yeah.
All right, how about just from the general audience? Does anybody want to unmute themselves? Any questions that you have to ask? We have about maybe, I don't know, eight minutes left. So now's the time to get those burning questions answered.
I guess I'll go again if no one has any. But I did see on the career fair that there are different people in different positions who are hosting one-on-ones for the same company. Would it be okay to maybe meet with the data analyst for one company, but also meet with the HR position as well, just for two different perspectives, or would we want to just prioritize one per company?
I can jump in and share that unless anything has changed in Handshake, you actually can't sign up for more than one-on-one session with the same company at any given fair. So I would pick strategically who you most want to meet with for that. But then you could also sign up for a group session with them. So you could do like a one-on-one session and a group session with the company. And that's a way to meet a lot of different people.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
I see a really good just logistical question in the chat, which is the city that's under the company where the job or internship is, or is the city that's listed with the company where the job or internship is located, or just where the company is based out of? Like if anybody is looking at the employers right now in Handshake, you might see, for example, that it says Sherwin-Williams Company, Cleveland, Ohio. That does not mean they are only recruiting for jobs in Cleveland, Ohio. That's just like where their corporate headquarters is. So I would like click into the employer, click on the actual jobs they're recruiting for, and then you'll get a sense of lots of them are recruiting for many different cities. So I would just look at the job instead of what it says about the employer. So that's a good question.
Employers are kind of centralized in Handshake. And so that's kind of coming out, if they have an account in Handshake, that's coming out of headquarters. But if they're coming to our fair, I would imagine most of them have local positions, wouldn't you say, Justin and Sabrina?
Yeah, it seems like most of the job postings I've seen all have at least something in Seattle, Bellevue, in the Puget Sound area. Then I actually had a question I was wondering if we could have them answer. One, it's actually, we've talked a lot about what you're looking for in the one-on-one sessions and group sessions and all that kind of stuff. Scott or Nikki, if either of you ever do look at resumes, kind of what do you look at when students submit their resumes? Is there anything in particular that they can do to kind of catch your attention, stand out?
Yeah. So, I mean, I looked at some resumes and like, I like to see well-rounded individuals and just stuff that I could just talk to people about. It's like, for instance, for me, when I was back in college, I was actually a Class A heavy haul truck driver on the weekends. And I had that in my resume. And like, that was one of the things that a lot of employers I talked to just like brought up. They're like, oh, that is so cool. Like, tell me about that. Also forklift certified, just like weird stuff like that. And I'm just like, I didn't think that those little things would look out and be like the jump. But I mean, maybe put, something in. I'm not saying you don't need to be a truck driver. I'm just saying, put something in that might, catch something, catch an eye. Because at the end of the day, like employers see a stack of resumes that, we go to this school, we're business, blah, blah, blah. It's all the same thing. Try to add something that, catches an eye, stands out just a little bit differently, a talking point, something cool like that.
Yeah, and then I would definitely say like the less is more. I wouldn't make it too long of a resume, like 2 pages is probably okay. I would probably try to keep it to 1 if you can, but put a picture on there. I went to a career fair yesterday and a gal gave me her resume and her picture was on there. It's like, what a nice touch. I can remember exactly, who you are and really help separate you from the other candidates.
All right, we have time for maybe another question or two. Any other questions kind of coming through in the chat, or anybody wanna just go out and ask one?
Hi, everyone. This is Carol Lawali. Just to emphasize a couple of points that had been mentioned, Justin talking about, and even Scott talking about going to career fairs early. It doesn't matter if you're a first year or not. What I've noticed is a pattern of early talent identification. So especially in your second year, I'm seeing a lot of organizations starting to work with students in their second year just to develop that relationship so that when they're ready for the workforce, they already know who you are and they're familiar with who you are. And that is definitely a way of standing out. So don't be afraid to go that because you're not a senior or not a junior. So start early and visit often is one tip I would give. And then also in terms of experiences and things to share, I just love what Scott said, but also to stand out is being able to show all the value you can add to an organization. You don't necessarily want to be exactly what says on the resume because, there's nothing that really stands out around that. You want to be able to show that value or that difference that could be what employers are sort of screening in for, saying, hey, we need someone who has a different kind of perspective that can help our organization grow. So I just encourage you to share that. And especially this past year has been such a challenging year, and not being able to get all the experiences or internships. But if you share how you were able to cope and pivot and adapt to such a challenging time, those are really wonderful things, whether you started a blog or photography, or, even started a cooking class or YouTube, a TikTok show or something. That would be amazing ways to just show how you coped during this challenging time. And not necessarily because you didn't have an internship, but it just says something about your strengths, your character building, and how you are in community with others. So just wanted to add those things.
So
Thank you, Carol. That is really good advice. And just so
I have one other question I wanted to throw in if we have time.
Oh, yeah, go for it, Megan.
Nikki and Scott, do you guys know, Nikki, I think I know your answer, but are your internships back to in person? Are they remote? I've been getting a lot of questions from students around what to expect, especially around internships.
You're spot on, Megan, for us. It's in person. So not a lot of work from home opportunities right now for us, but we are in person.
Yeah, same here. We were in person. Back when, what was it? 2 summers ago, I was online. COVID, sent us all home. But yeah, we're back in person. We're rolling. Yeah, we don't do virtual ones anymore. So yeah.
Thank you both.
Really quickly, I had actually a question for Carol on what she was kind of saying during that, I guess, adventurous time during COVID. I actually had a interesting opportunity that I actually was able to do throughout that time, but I haven't really found the right place to put it on my LinkedIn. I've always kind of felt like my LinkedIn was more like my professional side, or just wanted to only showcase certain things. But I raised over like $1,000 and donated it to a small businesses bureau in the city that I live in through I guess under the counter haircuts and other fun things while the barbershops were closed. Where would you recommend me putting that in either my LinkedIn or my Handshake?
That's wonderful. I love that. And those are the kinds of stories that you can actually put on your cover letter, because they don't necessarily always land well in a resume. That is so different. But there's places like projects that you could do and share on LinkedIn, actually. You can also start a projects or volunteer section on a resume and add those kinds of things in there, and work with a career coach on how to talk about those skills, or how that's transferable into a job that you might be after. So there's places to share that, but I would love to see how you could incorporate that in, say, a cover letter as a way to introduce yourself. That would get
Cool.
someone's attention.
Thank you.
Yeah, the cover letter is a good idea. You could also do it in sort of the about section on LinkedIn. It's one of kind of the first things an employer is going to see because it's towards the top, and that's a really good way to like start telling your story and letting employers know like, hey, I did this. This is why it matters. This is why you should think it's cool. I think that would also be a really good place to incorporate that.
I see another question that just popped up really quickly, which is one student said they didn't see a lot of computer science internships. Is this career fair mostly for the business major students? And my answer to that is this is for all, and it is equally for students interested in business and engineering and tech and all of those fields. The reason, and there will definitely be CS experiences at the fair, what might be happening is that a lot of employers who have registered haven't even created their schedules yet. So when you go to sign up for sessions, you don't see the sessions because they have not input them. So that's why it's really good to just keep checking back and make sure that as the fair approaches, you see those new sessions as they come up and you sign up for them. But the fair is totally for you. So you're in the right place.
Cool. All right, we're just getting about to time, so I think we'll wrap it up. I just wanted to really thank Scott and Nikki for hopping on here on the panel, offering some great advice. Thanks Sabrina for giving that wonderful overview of Handshake and how to utilize the system. Just a couple closing items. Remember, the career fair is on October 12th. You can sign up now for one-on-one sessions, group sessions. The one-on-one sessions especially will start going fast, so I'd recommend kind of getting on that now. As Sabrina mentioned, if there's employers you're really interested in and you're not seeing the sessions yet, they will be there. Just check back frequently. And just know both our offices, the Albers Placement Center and the Career Engagement Office, is here to help. So if you have additional questions, if we missed your question that didn't get answered, just reach out to our offices and we'll be more than happy to help you one-on-one or answer any questions you might have over email. So thanks again to our panelists. Thanks again to the Career Engagement Office for partnering on us with this. And like I said, we're here to help. Enjoy your afternoons. And again, thanks to Scott and Nikki.
Thank you guys.